Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? It is Thursday, so you know it's time for Money Talks with Mitchell Consulting. I am Lauren King Darden, and I am very excited to be here to talk to you about protecting your peace. So, we are wrapping up May. It is the last Thursday in May, y'all. The year is flying by, isn't it? That's wild that we are halfway through this year. But we're wrapping up May, and because May was your mental health awareness month, we have been going through a Protect Your Peace series. And so today, I just want to wrap it all up for everyone. I want to kind of touch on each of the things that we talked about this month, and hopefully, you have gotten some valuable insights from our Protect Your Peace series. And then I just want to give a couple of tips on how to continue protecting your peace. They may be business related, they may not be. So let's just get into it. So, first things first, I want to make sure that you are aware of how much your financial anxieties and things like that are impacting your mental health, right? So, that was what we talked about the first week. There is correlation between your finances, between your business. We know that, right? Like the things that are happening that impact our money is going to impact our mental health at times. And so the first thing is to identify that and identify the triggers for that, right? So when you're thinking about protecting your peace, you have to understand what triggers you to get out of your peaceful Zen state, right? Like when this thing happens, it really triggers a lot of anxiety in me. So, understanding your triggers, understanding the things around you that are creating a bit of anxiety, like that is going to be probably one of the first steps to understanding how to address those things to get back to protecting your peace, to creating boundaries to protect your peace. So, we talked about that in week one. Week two, we talked about how growing a team and having people to support you in the things that you're doing in your business can really help you to protect your peace when you learn how to do that well. So, whether that's figuring out how to delegate, understanding the processes in your business so that you can communicate those to your team well, like really digging into delegation, process management, and then also hiring and getting the right people there. Like working that stuff out. I know it might take time, it might take energy away from other things you need to do. But when you really lay the foundation of being able to find the right people to do the right things at the right time, who have the right expertise for your business, it really, really makes a difference in creating peace in your environment. So growing a team was week two. Week three, we talked about leaning on experts. So when we get to the point where sometimes we're at a loss in things, like realizing that you're not good at everything, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You don't have to be the best at everything. You have to realize that, like, when you spend your time on things you're not good at, it's going to waste your time and it's going to frustrate you. Or it'll take you longer, right? It'll take you longer than it should. So, resting and finding the right expert to help you in the places where you may not be the best at is going to bring you peace of mind because you are now delegating things that you know it's not your thing. You know what I mean? And it's fine. It's okay. It's okay to realize that you need help. It's okay to realize um, that you're not great at things, and it's okay to ask someone else to see what you can't see. Like we say, you can't see the label of the jar from the inside of the jar. You can't see the label of a jar from the inside. So sometimes relying on someone else to see the things that you can't will lend you the peace of mind you need to get through different seasons and different tribulations that you may be going through. So that was week three. And now we're in the last week and we have reflected on what we've talked about, but I really want to give a couple of other tips on how to self-care, give yourself some care, rest and things like that. So, I actually had the honor of being at a networking event, and oh my goodness, I should have prepared this a little earlier, but there was a lovely young lady there who kind of really was helping us to lay out how to care for ourselves. And when I find her information, I will put it in the comments for sure because she really blew me away with a lot of her concepts and like the linear path she took to self-care. We talked about triggers and we talked about things that um, create anxiety within us, and a lot of times we don't see that as a part of caring for ourselves. But a part of caring for ourselves is understanding where we need to place boundaries in our life. And it's not just about going to the spa or getting your nails done, getting your hair done, or for men, it could be, I don't know, blowing off steam. For my husband, is playing video games as his self care, or going to play golf, right? Like those things do help. But I think if we take a more holistic approach at ourselves and what we really need and what we've been through in our past and the things that create anxiety and that trigger reaction in us, that is looking at self-care as from a more holistic approach, right? And so what I would love for you to do is figure some of that out. Again, I'm going to put the resources down there from the young lady that spoke to me about self-care in that very whole self type of way. Um, but there were some steps that I think we really all should try to implement in figuring out what we actually need, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, self care for me is going to the gym. Self care for me is, you know, getting new eyelashes, whatever. Whatever it is for you, it can be whatever. But is that action really caring for you as a whole individual? Those are the things that I think we can kind of reflect on and implement better strategies to ensure that we're caring for our whole selves. Um, in that, sometimes it is like building rest into your schedule. So even if you have to make a calendar appointment with yourself and say, I need to rest on this day, that is caring for yourself as a whole. It's not necessarily spending money to get clothes or, maybe I just want to watch this show that kind of takes my mind off of the things that create anxiety for me. And that's a way to care for you as a whole for yourself. So take some time and really try to understand yourself in that way. Again, I don't want to steal, this is not my idea. So I will put the young lady's information in the comments, but it really was a great way to look at self-care as a whole, to alleviate stress and understand your triggers, and to infuse things that really care for you and the things that you need in the moment. Um, it was great, right? So we can do that. A couple other things that I would love for us to do as we're thinking about our mental health is how do our emotions and like our time management, like what's that trigger for you? So I'll put myself as an example. A lot of times when I don't reach the goals that I have for myself because I either didn't manage my time effectively, or maybe I didn't prioritize what I needed to, I get this sense of guilt, right? And when I feel this guilt, it kind of snowballs into more inaction because then I'm just like in this self-pity state. And so I want you to recognize when you have emotions like that and create something to counter that feeling, right? So whether it's affirmations or self-care practices, some sort of activity that helps you to get out of your rut, right? Sometimes for me it's going for a walk, like clearing my head, going for a walk and coming back and starting fresh. Like that's some of the things that I like to do, or doing yoga or doing something physical, like getting out of this space of where I created like the the bubble for myself where I'm feeling this self-pity or this guilt, or because I didn't get to this thing or I didn't do that thing, or I didn't I did everything wrong that day, right? I have to like get out of the space and then come back and reset. So whatever that is for you, just think about it. Like, how do you reset? How do you start fresh? How do you let go of mistakes you may have made, or things you may have done wrong or not done to the standard of your expectation, or like, how do you reset? Think about that reset point, think about that reset activity, and really set that in place to get your mind fresh and right. And whew, I've breathed, I've done that reset thing, I'm back and I can come back better and I can come back stronger. Or maybe I'll make another mistake. But whatever it is, really identify that for yourself and put that into your self-care practice, and so that you have an understanding of your triggers, your emotions, the things that you're going through, how to reset, how to start over and get back on the path that you need to go to get where you want to go. Okay? So the last thing that I want to recommend when you're thinking of your self care and business and as a whole is, how do you continue to learn and adapt about the things around you and yourself, right? Prioritize continuous learning and continuous improvement, right? Prioritize further understanding so that you can then adapt in different situations. For financials, for that in particular, when you continue to learn about the financial health of your business, like this is just an example. If I understand the financial health of my business, I understand what things mean and how reports can help me to make better decisions. I can adapt in more real time so that I can either recover, get to where I need to go, um, check off this thing that is giving me anxiety, so on and so forth, right? So if you want to put that in another context, like I said earlier, I realized that when I didn't meet my goals, it created guilt within me that then put me in this state of self-pity, right? I had to continuously figure out what was going on with myself, like continue to not just sit in my emotions, but really learn and understand what the emotions meant and why I was getting here, and then adapting by implementing things that kind of snap me out of that cycle of guilt or self-pity. So my challenge to you is to use self-care more holistically and understand what you need, what creates triggers in you, and then put those practices into place, but also continue to learn yourself, continue to learn the environment around you, to continue to learn about those things that create anxiety within you, so that you can then adapt and make decisions more swiftly and address what really is the root cause of either those feelings or um, or the triggers and so on and so forth. Now, again, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I'm just giving tips based on what I've been through, what I've experienced as a business owner, what I've experienced even in corporate America, um, and how taking these steps to really understand self care, continue learning, helping to adapt can really help you to get through some of the challenges that we face as business owners. So as we're wrapping up um, Mental Health Awareness Month, really center you and your health and the things around you. Create boundaries. I hope that you are super encouraged by what we were able to share this month, whether it impacts you personally or through business. Um, at Mitchell Consulting, we care about whole individuals. We understand that a lot of what we do with finances entwine into your personal life, entwine into your business life, and so on and so forth. And so we want to be here to support you as a whole person, as a whole individual. And we want you to continue to find those things that bring you joy, continue to find things that bring you rest, that bring you peace. And if any of the things we shared have helped you today, let us know. If you have any other questions that we can answer, feel free to comment them below or DM us. Money Talks is really here to share information, educate. We would love to have conversations. We love to have interactions, because we really are just here to help our community, the community that we're in and our surrounding, and the people we come in contact with. So with that, y'all, I'm rambling on for 15 minutes now. let me get on out of here. This has been Money Talks with Mitchell Consulting. I'm Lauren King Darden, and I will see you next week. Have a good weekend. Bye, guys.